Welcome to Glazed Over, a podcast for contemporary ceramic studios. We're your hosts, Jessica Cowan
and Vanessa Steele. You're invited to join us in a creative conversation about life in the arts and entertainment industry.
Hey everyone, it's Jess here, and today we're talking with Louise from Kiln Creations all about your standard operating procedure. So she's going to help you define your why, define your training, figure out how to write down your day-to-day operating procedure, and she's even got a form that you can fill out to help yourself get going. And in the end, we'll ask her some fun questions about herself and her studio.
Feel like a juggler at your ceramic studio? Between classes, bookings, and admin tasks, those pins keep flying. Let Occasion help you put down the act and get back to creating. Visit occasion.act to discover your peace of mind.
Hey everyone, Des Toll here from Bisque Imports, and we've got good news for your kiln room. New Kiln Core stilts are here. They're strong, precision built, and made to deliver clean results every time. If you're glazing and firing, these are a must-have.
Running a fine art studio is creative, rewarding, and a lot of work. That's why studio owners worldwide turn to the Contemporary Ceramic Studio Association. As a CCSA member, you get industry education, marketing tools, supplier discounts, and real data to help you grow smarter. Plus, you'll connect with a supportive community of studio owners and get listed in our online studio locator so customers can find you. Ready to strengthen your studio? Join today at ccsaonline.com.
Okay, Louise, so how about you tell everyone a little bit about yourself, your studio, where you're from, and let's get into it.
My name is Louise Blazucki. I moved to the Midwest about 7 years ago and I almost immediately bought my studio. I was a customer first and I came during like the Christmas rush, and the lady who owned said, "Oh, it's good that you're here because this is the last week." And I was like, "Oh, for firing before Christmas, like I don't care when I get these things." She goes, "No, ever, we're closing." And that was December 17th. By December 31st, I had the keys in hand and I was the owner of Kiln Creations. Kiln Creations is now celebrating its 25th year. So we're very excited about that, but it's my 8th year owning. And since I took over, I have doubled our income and I've quadrupled our crew, and we've added wheels and we've upped our hand building, and we just have a really successful little community of weirdo artists.
Okay, I love this. That's the most insane story ever because that's like, what, 2 weeks, you know? So what was it that made you say this is for me for sure, for sure?
So at the time, my husband and I were looking for a self-employment adventure, and we had always had our hearts set on having a coffee shop and being able to, I actually am I'm a chef. I'm a baker. Yeah, I like to bake. And so I was like, oh, I could just have a coffee shop and bake a bunch of cookies and croissants and things like that, and everything would be great. And we were on the market looking. And then I was a customer here, and I had been painting at that point for maybe 10 years and enjoying pottery for that long. And when she had mentioned that, I was like, well, how much is it? Just like out of curiosity, like how much? But I took the opportunity home to my husband, and he's like, we would be stupid not to do this. He's like, there's nothing, it's already running. There's nothing to do. You just are going to have to learn how to do the back end stuff. He's like, you already know how to do the art. He said, let's just do it. And like, if you hate it, we can sell it in a couple of years and get your coffee shop or whatever. And I was like, all right, cool. But it was really just as it sounds. It was an overnight decision, and it was 2 weeks until we got the keys. Like that was just that.
I love that though. Like that's my kind of vibe, you know, just jump in head first, do it, you know, and go on an adventure, right? Like that's the whole point. So, and now you've been on the adventure for 8 years. So tell me some of the highlights of this adventure.
I think the main highlight, obviously taking over was a big step, and then establishing myself as the new voice of Kiln Creations. The previous owner was very much like the art shown and the name shown, but she did not. And I'm a very vocal person, so I got us on the news, and I was constantly at events, and I was, I ramped our colors up. We're hot pink now instead of gray. So I think great. And then when we decided to add wheels, it was the beginning of 2020. Actually, the beginning of the pandemic, I took a class at a local art, not an art college, but like an art co-op. And I was just taking it for fun. And then I decided, well, if I add wheels in my studio, can I hire my teacher? So I talked to my teacher and I was like, would you come on? Like, how much do you get paid here? How much would I pay you? Blah, blah. She said, you're good enough. You can teach. And I was like, there's no way. So I bought two wheels and I taught one-on-one classes until I got good enough. And then I hired on other teachers and we expanded and got more wheels. And I think the wheels have just, they've changed our business and they've changed my mindset on the business because before it was like, okay, I don't control my stream of production. I have to buy pieces. I have to, you know, kind of play with everyone else's timelines. But when you have wheels and you have hand building, you control the production and you can host as much as you can stand to, essentially. You know, you can make as much money as you can. And that really has kind of flipped my business to like high gear, you know?
Yeah, I love that. Okay, well, today we're here to talk about studio operations. So that is your, we'd say specialty, right? Like that's why we brought you on. So let's get into it. How to build an operating plan for your business without losing your mind. That's the title of this episode. I think that's a good one. That's a good, that I think we've all lost our mind a little bit already. So maybe it's more like how to reclaim your mind some. So Louise, how are we going to do that?
Well, and it's funny because I'm telling you my origin story, my villain origin story of like, I bought my studio in 2 weeks, but in reality, you have to have a set plan and you have to have a guidance for how you're going to do your business in order to be
Right.
successful. So today we're talking about the back end of like, okay, you made this decision to go on this crazy journey. Now, how are you going to make it work? The reason that your store should have a standard operating plan or a store operating plan, whatever you want to call it, are so that you know why you're doing what you do, so that you can communicate to your customers why you're doing what you do, and so that your employees know why you're doing what you do. There are a lot of parts of the store operating plan that are going to be the what, how, and when, but the why is the most important part.
Mm-hmm. So what's your why? Is
My
there an
why
overall why?
yeah, it's continuing the legacy and building the community. When I took over, I set the goal of focusing on community first and money later. And honestly, that's how you make more money is you invest in the people around you and invest in the community of artists. So that's why I'm here. And I've focused on hiring my employees for that very reason to keep the community growing.
Right. And how do you pull your employees into that mindset with you?
A lot of times I hire customers because they're already part of the
Mm,
community. I know that a lot
yeah.
of other studio owners say the same thing, but I think the difference with me is that that's top of my mind is that how much do you already love being here and how much do you want to see film creation succeed?
Hmm. Yeah, I hear that a lot too. We recently hired a college kid, and she's been coming since she was, 7. And when we hired her, she's like, "This is the job that I've wanted to have. I'm so excited because I've been coming here since I was a kid, and I'm so excited to be a part of this." So there's, we hear the side of it where people are like, "Don't hire your customers," some they want to paint all day. But there's the other side of it of the people who are excited to be there that they have been customers so long that they want to be a part of the other side of things where they can help grow the business and they want to be a part of the back end and how can they help the community. And I'm with you, like you've got to have that why. My staff, we all sat down and we did value graphs and kind of came up together with like, what is the why of our studio? And it came to community, hospitality, arts, which coincidentally spells CHA, which is short for Chattanooga, which we love that for us because we're in Chattanooga. So it's just like, a little rally and we're like, hey, that came together great for us. So it's important to know why you're there. Like, are you there to just make money? If you are, you're probably not you're probably not there for the right reason. So you're probably not going to build the community that you want that's going to keep going, right? Like, or that's a me opinion. I don't know if other people share that opinion.
And
Anyway.
yeah, but that's great that you guys sat down and did that. And I'm not actually sure what a value wrap is. I'm gonna have to look that up when we disbar. But like the idea that you should have a mission statement that drives what you're doing is definitely prevalent. But once we figure out our why, then we have to get into what a store operating plan actually is and what it looks like. And it's an instruction manual for how your business runs. So it's a piece of paper, a document that literally you could hand over to somebody else and say, this is what we do and this is how we do it so that we can be successful. It should answer questions like, what are your goals, your business goals and your community goals? How do we serve customers? What are our sales targets? How do we train employees? And what happens when something goes wrong or we need extra help?
Mhm. And those things are more than just paragraphs of like answers, they're actual details, right?
Yeah, it
So
should be
get
step by
into,
Yeah, it should be step by step. So you can define your core offerings. So for me, I offer wheels, hand building, ceramic painting, and then we also offer canvas, but that is a very like low key offering. That's something that is just for the customer that needs make and take. But defining those things are your first step. And then defining what percentage of your money and what percentage of your time is spent on each one is important so that you can kind of go through that and hire to those sets of
mm-hmm,
offerings and kind of clarify what's important to you. When I took over my studio, we offered mosaics, and I had to do a how much money do you make per square foot that it takes up in your studio breakdown, which I'm now forgetting what that's called. And we got rid of them almost immediately because I was like, these don't make any money for how much space they take up and how much time and how much extra things I have to buy. So things like that are going to go into what your core offerings are.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
very
then,
valid.
yeah, yeah. And then we want to list what are the core experiences that we offer, what kind of class types, what kind of events. I don't know how studios run that don't do events. I've heard a lot of talk on chatter of people asking like, how are we supposed to do events or how do we bump up events? Events are what drive my business forward. I mean, we make X when we don't do events, and we make X huge when we do events. So
Right.
that's one of our main focuses, and that's top of the list in our SOP. And then it comes to the boring parts, right? We have to set sales goals, and we can set sales goals many different ways, but I like to do a monthly and a weekly goal. So I don't want to just say we're going to have a good month this month. I want to say a good month is this many dollars in and this many dollars spent. So having an
Mm-hmm.
idea of what you think that is prime. And that can be really hard for a new studio, but for a studio with an established record, you can look back, let's say at every March and say, okay, past Marches, I have made 20 grand. And this March, I want to make 22 grand. How am I going to do it?
Right. And who do you share this information with, like internally? Is there anyone upper management, all of your team? Are you an open books kind of leader?
I am an open books kind of leader because I believe that everyone, when the more invested people are, the more invested they are. So the more they know, the more they can participate in the success of the studio. And I'm very open with if we make a lot of money, you make a lot of money, and they get it.
Mm-hmm.
Like they get that more money for the team is more money for the team. We also I also came from old retail. So I worked when I was 16, I worked at a shoe store. And I'm going to take you on a little journey. So every day at the shoe store, we had a sales target that printed off from our register. So it would say, today your goal is to make this much. And it had per hour how much you were supposed to make. And it was based only off of last year. So they would take last year's same day, add 20%, and say, that's what you're supposed to make today.
Mm-hmm.
And I always felt like that gave me a goal, even as a 16-year-old starting out in retail, was like, I've got to greet every customer because we have to make $300 an hour today or whatever it was. And you also can see the day ahead of time and say, I should expect to be busy today because last year we were slammed today for whatever reason. So it's always good. The more information you can give people, the better it can go. And I know a lot of people want to say, well, my financial business is my financial business. That's fine to an extent, But if you're asking people to invest their time and their energy with you without giving them a clear goal, what are you asking them to do? I mean, if you're not
Right.
telling them what their goals are, how are they going to reach them? That's an impossible target. So yeah, I'm very open.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I mean, even same when I was working at Chick-fil-A at 16, we were getting the printouts of what we were making by hour, what labor looked like, you know. So I've always expected to be involved in what the sales look like for the day and what my role kind of is within that. Do I know what all the accounts and everything look like? No, you know, but I know what the basics are of the ins and the outs and kind of what the goals are for the day. So I think that part's important. And my team's like that too. They know that like when we're making money there, that's how they get raises and stuff, you know? So
Yeah. And you can set the expectation of if you guys make 2 grand today, then we had a good day and tomorrow we can kind of take it easy. You can also set the expectation of if you haven't made this much by 2 o'clock, somebody is getting cut and sent home. So y'all better hustle to make this much by 2 o'clock if you want to keep working tonight.
right. Yeah, absolutely. So, hey, I like that we're on the same team about that because I do feel that some people, that's what holds you back is not being a little bit more open, you know, because
Well, and I
you want to invest.
Yeah, and I can speak for other people, but I would guess that that comes from the idea that as a small business owner, our business is our income. So people get weird about sharing their own income openly. But I always tell my staff, like, I don't make money unless you make money, and you don't make money unless the store makes money. So the store has to
Right.
come first. So we
Yeah.
have to all talk about the store's goals. The store is the baby, and we all have to baby it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then defining our revenue stream is good, but then we also have to say how much do we want to make from walk-ins, how much do we want to make from classes, how much do we want to make from events, and then your time investment should go towards those things. So if I want to make 50% of my money from walk-ins, I should be investing 50% of my team and my time into servicing walk-ins. And that's just basic. These are just basic math and just basic guesses. I mean, really, you're guessing about what you want your business to look like when you first write your SOP. And then the next year, when you reevaluate your SOP, you can really tailor it down to exactly what worked and what didn't work.
Hey, podcast friends, let's talk about firing your bisque with confidence. Kiln core stilts are built for strength and stability with a solid refractory base that keeps your work secure. Each stilt features precision-cut metal pins with sharp pencil point tips, designed to leave the smallest, cleanest marks possible after firing. Kiln core stilts provide dependable support so your glazed pieces don't stick to the shelf. Rated up to cone 10, they're a dependable choice for everything from low fire glazing to high fire production work, giving you confidence every time you load the kiln.
Are you spending hours managing studio bookings and class registrations? Occasion helps ceramic studios save an average of 3 days a week in admin time. With clever workflows, instant confirmations, and seamless class management, you can focus on what matters, creating amazing experiences for your customers. Join successful studios like Clay Cafe Avalon, who've trusted Occasion since 2016. Visit occasion.app and schedule a demo today. Mention Glazed Over podcast for personalized setup support.
Everybody hates doing a budget. Nobody wants to look.
Yeah, it's the worst.
But we can make it easier by saying, okay, we have fixed expenses and we have variable expenses. Now I know my fixed expenses. They're my rent, my insurance, my Clover, my occasion, that kind of thing. Those are fixed. Then your variable expenses are your payroll, your supplies, and your marketing. And that's where you can play with saving money or spending money to make money, that kind of thing. Once you understand your expenses, your sales goals become way more clear because you can say, okay, I spend $13,000 a month in fixed and what I'm guessing are my variable expenses, but it could be, 13 to 17,000, let's say. So I've got to make 13 to 17,000 period. And then if I want to make $2,000 a month, whatever whatever you think you should make, 5,000, 8,000, 10,000, then I have to make that extra. So then that becomes a really easy way to say, this is the number, this is what we have to do. There's no,
Right.
There's no.
Yeah, it's math. That's how you find the equation, you know?
Well,
We
and
all
it's
hate
funny
math
because
because we're art people.
we do. We all hate math, and then we all think that there's no way I could do this. This is so hard. But I'm telling you, if you take it bite by bite, you can do it. You
Yeah.
definitely can. Because you know you can print out what you made last month. That's
Mhm.
easy. You can look at your bills from your credit card statements and your bank account, and you can see what you spent last month. So if you can do that for 1 month, you can do it for the whole year. I promise. It's not as hard as we all want to make it out to be. I think the next step for me in my SOP is harder, is building the training manual.
Mhm.
So training new employees is my weakest point. I'll admit that every day of the week. It is very hard for me to put all of my info that I know that's in my brain into my employees. It's very hard for me to get that in there. So that's where having an SOP becomes really important because it's all written down step by step. And I can declutter my brain and remember, okay, this is a front of house employee. They don't need to learn how to do clay. They don't need to load the kiln. They need to learn customer service, how the glaze worked, and where we put pieces when they're done and how to take. Once I've got that figured out, it becomes much easier. So you kind of want to define who works where. So what does a front of house employee look like? What does a back of house employee look like? What do your teachers do? What are they responsible for? And then you can build their job description and their training manual piece by piece.
Right. Yeah, that I do think training is like my personal strong suit because of exactly that. Like that was the pain point for me for a long time. And one day I was just like, I'm taking 3 days off and I'm fixing this, just period, point blank, and I had to do the same thing. Like you have to distill it down and be like, this is what they have to learn in the beginning. And I step by stepped it and was like, okay, on day one, you're going to read these things and then do these things. And now we have these cards that are like, these are the 6 actual roles inside of the studio, and these are the things you can learn how to do. And that fit along with them. And we kind of play it that way. And I turned it all into a game because I'm a nerd. That's just who I am as a person. And everyone else I hire happens to be a nerd too, because we hire people who are similar to us, it turns out. Learn that along the way too. Yeah.
Yeah, we've definitely learned that like the vocal stimming, once it starts in the studio, you can't stop it because we all just are constantly singing and chattering to each
Yeah.
other.
It's real. It's real.
That's a really good key is that if you look at other businesses and how they run and other retail operations that are giant, your franchisors or your corporate
Yeah.
owned business, they all have training manuals and they all have step by step. This is what you wear when you come to work. This is how you clock in. This is how you greet a customer. This is how you check people out. And if we apply those same principles to small business, we succeed. So
Yeah.
you have to take the 3 days off. It does take time, but once you've got
Hmm.
it down, then every employee they're just more invested. Especially a well-trained employee is going to be more invested in their success because they get it. They get all of the steps and they feel an ownership of what they're doing.
Hmm. 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 Preach.
So,
I
the
think the
next
kids say
portion
clock it.
I know, right? The next portion of your SOP is your daily operation. So all of your checklists that are like things that you do unconsciously, you have to write down so that someone who doesn't know what you do here knows how to do it. The biggest problem for me in my studio, every single time I hire a new person, is training them on where the light switches are. So literally step by step. It's like that interview question everyone loves to hate, the how do you make a peanut butter sandwich?
Hmm.
Um, how do I open my studio? Okay, I unlock the door using the keypad. I turn on the first light switch when I walk in the door. I put my purse in the office. I walk through and I turn on the light switch that is hidden in the front studio. Step by step, exactly what they need to do. And then you get into the nitty gritty of the day. So are they reviewing the day's classes? Are they remembering what they're teaching versus who's coming in next? Those sorts of things. And then your closing checklist. So they should clean their tables, do an inventory check, cash out, secure the studio. Maybe they have to text you when they're done and make sure that they've done everything, or maybe they have to sign off on something. But that consistency not only helps your employees feel well trained and empowered, it helps your customer because they know what they're going to get every day when they come in. They know the lights are going to be on, the bathroom's going to be working and clean. The paintbrushes will be out on the table or wherever you have them. You know, your paint station is going to look clean and appropriate, and you're going to come in and feel like everyone feels prepared.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then, so my suggestion is to review your plan often, not only to catch any sorts of things you've missed, but also to make sure that you're on schedule with your plan. So every week, every 2 weeks when I have to do payroll, I am taking a deep dive into what we've made those 2 weeks. Because I know as an owner, you get stuck in the overwhelm. So you get stuck in just, okay, we made a lot of money this weekend. I got to buy a lot of product. You don't really know what those numbers are. And then, oh, shoot, I bought too much product and now I have to pay payroll. Do I have enough money? So payroll is my time every 2 weeks to sit down and say, okay, this is what we made the last 2 weeks. This is how much I spent in payroll. This is how much I have left to spend in bisque or supplies or clay or what have you. And it's a time to kind of reevaluate. So it's a suggestion to do it monthly, but I do it every 2 weeks because I'm hyper vigilant. And then every 2 weeks, I'm reviewing the sales. I'm looking at events that sold quicker than I thought they would or didn't sell as well as I thought they would. I'm looking at the inventory that sold because sometimes I can sell out of, especially those brand new kawaii looking pieces from Biskin, the mochi and the red panda. I mean, I can't keep them on the shelves, so I have to remember like to buy four cases of that at a time, that kind of thing. And then we're looking at staffing issues. Where were we short? Who felt overwhelmed? Who felt redundant? Did I staff a class too heavy, too light, that sort of thing? And then any supply chain issues. So what can I not get? What do I need for an upcoming class that I should buy ahead of time? I'm kicking myself this week because I didn't buy those frog planters from Bisque House early enough and I sold them ahead of time. So now I'm having to replace them with a different planter. But you know, these things happen.
Right.
But yeah, that kind of thing can help you fine tune that SOP for next year so that next year you're like not caught off guard. And I think that is the biggest failing point is businesses who are caught off guard by, let's say, spring break or caught off guard by the Christmas rush or caught off guard by how much they spent to recoup after those big rushes. I think that can be a big point where you're like, I'm not doing this right. When just a little bit of planning, you'll feel much more comfortable and you'll be doing it right.
Something I do at the end of every Christmas is I write a note to myself about stuff that I wish that I would have remembered, or just like, hey, don't forget you need to order gift cards. And I put it with like my Christmas decor. So when I open up the box, it's like, hey, this little checklist of stuff from last year, you know.
Smart. That is so smart. Oh my gosh. I finally this year, this is going to be like the most, this is going to be the point that people talk about most after hearing this podcast. They're going to make fun of me for years. But just this year, I decided to write on the outside of the box what was in the box for my Christmas wrap up. So like I was like, oh, 6 trees, 2 11-inch trees, 1 17-inch tree.
That way you don't have to open them up and see. I love that.
This year. I finally got it. So I'm absolutely an expert at this. You should definitely trust everything I'm saying.
Some of the best ideas come late, you know. I get it. It took me 10 years to realize I could use brushes as balloon weights, you know, and I was like, oh my God, this is the perfect helium balloon weight and it fits the theme. Amazing. Like, what's wrong with me? Like, I thought I was smart.
I know. You don't know how smart you are until you make a dumb mistake and you're like, oh, okay, yeah. I get it now. I got it. Right. And then doing all these reevaluations once a month, you can write those little notes to your future self for the next March, the next April, whatever. I've definitely, since writing out my SOP, have been able to set myself up for the years to come and saying like, okay, in December, I need to save $5,000 so that I can buy this particular product that always sells in January. In January, I need to remember that I'm going to have way too many people in for couples classes in February. So I need to make more space in the back to hold those pieces. That was something this year that I remember from last year that I was like, oh, we did 6 couples classes last year and we only did 8 this year. And ahead of time, I was like, oh, that's right. I've got to clean off all these shelves. So I have room for all this pottery to dry. So that was something that kind of set us up for success. So little things like that, that you can leave yourself a note when you've reevaluated so that next year it's even more of a fleshed out plan.
Absolutely. We're one in the same brain, Louise.
I love hearing that because I love taking your classes. So that's good. But yeah, it is hard because we just want to be creative. But if you approach your SOP in the stance of I'm creating something and I'm creating the plan that's going to make me more successful, I promise you, little bites, and it's not hard. In addition to just chatting about this today, we do have a form that each studio can fill out, and it starts with your mission statement and it ends with your closing checklist. So you can go mission statement, budget, you can list out your fixed and your variable expenses. You can go through how to train each person, and it's all just fill in the blank. So it can
Yay!
I know, right? And it can be as extensive or as short as you prefer. And whatever works for your studio is the right answer. And if anybody ever has any questions, they can always email me. I don't know why I say that because, like, I don't know that I'm not the expert. I just figured out what works for me, and I'm happy to share what works for me with everybody else.
Well, and see, that's what matters. So tell everyone how to email you, Louise, and how to contact you.
My email is louise@kilncreations.net. You can also find me on Chatter anytime. I'm also in PYOPP. I actually was just helping a friend there kind of figure out what's wrong with her glaze. So I love to do problem solving anytime. And people are probably sick of hearing from me. Honestly, I chime in on everything because I'm like, if my thought helps, I'm going to put it out there so that it can help you.
Yeah, no, we love a helper, and we're all very grateful for you for making this form for us. So thank you very much, Louise. Okay, so I'm going to ask you some questions that are more fun. One, what kind of colors do you use? Are you a Mako or a Gear studio?
I am a Mako studio.
Okay, what's your favorite color to paint with?
Oh my gosh, I was not ready for this question. Okay.
And
so
it's the toughest question we ask, actually.
It's so difficult. So I have to give you one for every single line that I carry. So my favorite stroke and coat color is Rosy Posy because she is pink at 06 and at 6, and she's gorgeous. Mm-hmm. She is my favorite pink.
We love a versatile pink.
Yes. And my favorite elements is wheat because it has such tonality. You can get a very dark kind of orangey color and then the very light kind of wheat color. I love her. This is getting me. For gems, I love them all, but I particularly love making trash. So in our studio, if we forget what gem we've given someone, let's say you gave them Starry Night, but it really looks like Royal Fantasy and you don't want to put it in the wrong bottle, you put it in a bottle called Blue Trash. And then at the end of the week, you have this amalgamation of blues that is completely different than anything Mako offers. So this is a cop out, but my favorite is green trash. There's every green that we offer with every speckle in it. And then my favorite stoneware color. You were not ready for this. I'm so sorry. I'm taking you on this long.
I love it. I'm here for it, actually. Color journey.
My favorite stoneware color is, oh gosh, probably Copper Float. I love Copper Float. I love the metallic specks that you can get from it when you put it on thick enough. I love the matte finish. It's just perfection. It's gorgeous. Mm-hmm. But that's to say that I love them all. And picking a favorite child is really hard.
Yeah, it is really difficult. So, I mean, that's why it's a tough question. So I totally get it. Do you have any go-to shapes that you like to paint when you're doing samples?
I'm sorry, say that again. Any go-to shapes? Like my favorite
shapes to paint?
No. Honestly, my days of painting samples are fewer and fewer because I have much better painters on my team. I'm typically painting commissions because people have told me what to paint, or I'm painting whatever makes my heart happy. I'm not painting samples. But in that vein, I do love trying to copy everyone else and trying to see if I can hit what other people hit. So
Yeah.
whenever someone has a good BITV thing, I'm like, oh, can I do that? I bet I can. Or somebody has a good sample. I'm like, I bet I can recreate that and give it my own twist. So that's always
Yeah.
fun. And I
Okay.
love hold on. I have to tell you this. I love adding baby hands to any design. So if a design is a rabbit with feet, it's going to be baby feet when I paint it. I'm going to borrow somebody's baby and make it feet. If a design has a room for a kid's hand, I did the Sheena Sway thing that was so hot, and I put my little kid's hand on the back, and like that was my favorite piece. But if I can sneak a baby hand into it, I'm going to do it.
That I really love. I love a handprint art too. So my manager also loves handprint art. She does our handprint program, and she's got some really cute samples. Okay, so what's something that you're interested in trying that you want to get into? It doesn't have to be pottery related.
Oh, it doesn't have to be pottery related. Nothing. I only pottery. I don't really do anything with my life other than pottery.
Yeah, me neither. So,
We're thinking we're floating. We're not floating. No, we're in the final stages of solidifying having a charm bar in our studio. So making charms for charm
I've
bracelets.
seen those. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it actually. And then I guess non-pottery. I'm in the middle of writing a short story, and I'd love to write a compilation of short stories. I'm a writer by passion, not by ability or anything. So that's my next adventure.
Thanks for listening. I'm Des Toll from Biscuit Imports. And if you want dependable support and clean firing results, Kiln Core stilts are ready to go to work for you. Available now at biscuitimports.com. Stock up today and fire with confidence.
Feel like a juggler at your ceramic studio? Between classes, bookings, and admin tasks, those pins keep flying. Let Occasion help you put down the act and get back to creating. Visit occasion.act to discover your peace of mind.
No two studios look the same, and that's exactly why the Contemporary Ceramic Studios Association exists. Whether your studio offers paint your own pottery, clay hand building, wheel throwing, glass fusion, or a mix of it all, CCSA is here to support you. From education and resources to community and industry advocacy, we help Fired Art Studios grow stronger businesses. Wherever you are on your studio journey, CCSA is here for you. Learn more at ccsaonline.com.
This has been a fabulous conversation today, Louise. Anything else you want to tell the listeners before we sign off?
Yes, I want to tell everybody that any chance that they get to talk to a supplier, don't be afraid to ask them for a piece that you wish that you had. I tell this story a lot, but 2 years ago and last year, the year before last, so 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when I was at convention both times, I talked to a DJ from Biscuit Imports, and I asked for the trashiest raccoon I could get. And he was like, nobody's going to buy a trash panda. And I was like, they will, DJ. I promise they will. So I'm not saying that it was me, but I'm saying that I planted a seed for DJ to make Ricky the Raccoon that's in a trash can. Some other pieces that I've been really excited to see. They're now releasing a mama and baby cat, because I love the mama baby pieces really well in my studio. And I asked for a cat last year, and I think the timing was too close for it to really have been my request. But I want to remind you guys that they're there to listen to us. They're there to hear what we have to say. And so just asking. We asked for the heart hand, and Gare gave us the heart hand. So put your information out there. Don't be afraid to ask the silly question. You never know.
Absolutely. So, all right. Thanks, Louise. It was good talking to you.
Glazed Over is brought to you by the CCSA, the Contemporary Ceramic Studios Association. Thank you to our moderators, Jessica Cowan and Vanessa Steele. Editing by Scott Lester. Executive production by Vicki DeWorth. Learn more about becoming a member at ccsaonline.com.